Hey everyone, the Talking Dads podcast is brought to you by Little Scholars Early Learning Center. Whether your family needs infant care, a preschool program, or before and after school care, Little Scholars' highly rated Step Up to Quality programs provide quality early childhood education at an affordable price. Visit www.littlescholars.net to get in contact with an enrollment specialist and schedule a tour of any of their 5 Lake County campuses. Here's the deal. Talking Dads fans are getting a little bonus. Mention that you heard about them through our podcast, and when you tour, and you'll receive $25 off of your registration fee. Again, that's Little Scholars Early Learning Center, where children learn, play, and grow together.
In a world where moms continue to dominate parenting authority and a father's role is minimized in society, 2 dads take on the toughest parenting topics on a weekly basis, all while drinking bourbon. They are the Talking Dads.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Talking Dads, episode number 34. I am Steve. This is Ian, and tonight we have special guest Zach Johnson. What's going on?
What's up, guys? Hey, yeah, we are at the collab by Notion with a live studio audience.
Yes, live.
Wait for the applause here.
Hold it.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, yeah, Zach, what's up, man? Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Appreciate you bringing some wonderful Four Roses.
Yes, thank you. It's very good.
One of my favorite brands, if I'm going to be honest.
It is phenomenal. Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Good. So how we usually start off the show is we will ask you to give us your dad profile. So just a few seconds about who you are, your kids, your 30-second version of your dad story, and then we'll dive right in.
Okay. I can do that.
Go for it.
Dad story. So I have 3 children, 17-year-old daughter, 13-year-old daughter, 11-year-old son. I'm the father of all 3.
That's good.
All right. Good.
As far as I can tell.
I have one of my kids that's questionable.
We all do.
I'm a relatively, I would say, passionate and intense guy, and that usually is both work and play. And
Hold on, I have a question. Can you be relatively intense?
I like to say it makes it sound less aggressive.
Okay.
Relatively.
All right. I like it.
That's good.
I like it.
That's good. Good to put it.
I mean, I think I just found the title of this episode, Relatively Intense.
Just like that. We got it.
Boy.
We got it all covered.
Yeah.
So that's good. Continue. Sorry.
So we're good. Yeah, we've let's see, married for 19 years now.
Wow.
And
Wait, how old are you?
43.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Jeez. I got to do something with myself.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story. A lot of preservatives and bourbon.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. We've been in Ohio for a long time. Grew up in down south in Tennessee, and grew up with my mom, and then stepfather for a lot of years.
Okay.
And here's where I'm at now.
Very cool.
For a while.
Well, we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So you said 3 children, 19? No, 17, 13, and 11?
Yep.
So
wow.
Your 2 oldest are your daughters.
Yep.
I have many questions.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So I have a 2-year-old daughter and then a 4-year-old son. And then Steve, your boys are
4 and 2.
4 and 2, yeah.
2 boys.
So we are, one of the reasons that we started doing this podcast is, number one, so that we could help out new fathers and guys that are just getting into or just found out that they're going to be a father. And then on the other side of it, to help us learn from guys who have older children.
Mm-hmm.
And what we found is both ways it works to where we can help and then we can also terrify. So we're in for that. So don't feel bad.
Yeah,
we like to learn from stories.
Yes, we get all kinds of ideas from
stories.
So
Love it.
So your oldest daughter, so she's 17.
Yep.
So is she's still in high school?
High school graduating this year,
Graduating this year?
Man.
which is crazy.
Yeah. Like what's that like?
Yes, I want to know as a
I don't
Like-
think. I mean, I remember high school pretty well. So for
Yeah,
me,
so do I, yeah.
I don't feel like I'm old enough to have a child that's
Right.
yeah, for sure. I feel like
Graduating
it's
high
got to be like
school.
surreal.
It is. It seems like the kids are young for a long, long time, and then all of a sudden you wake up and they're
just like that.
driving car.
I mean, that's what everyone tells you. Like,
yeah, it always sounds cliche. Like, hey, it's gonna fly by.
It does,
and it's like, yeah, sure, they're so young right now. Man,
this week took forever. I don't know what you're talking about, right?
But I mean, at the same time, like my son just turned 4, and I know that's not very old, but it's at the same time that went by.
Yeah, it did.
It does.
Yeah.
Every little stage goes by really, really fast.
Yeah.
So teenage daughters, biggest challenge, biggest piece of advice. We're just gonna hammer you with like the tough ones right away.
Get right after it.
Make sure you have a happy place to go to.
The collab for me.
Collab.
This is our happy place right here. This is our therapy.
Biggest challenge. I would say with the girls in particular. Oh boy, what's your biggest challenge? It's just full on the emotional ride.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go straight to solutioning here, but the biggest challenge is the emotional ride.
Yeah.
As a guy, I've always said things are, look, it's always nice to be a guy because it seems to be a little bit more binary, right? It's easier to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm either happy or I'm sad.
Yeah.
Or
Right,
I'm
right,
tired or I'm not, right? And this is just so much more complex, and it takes things into other realms of
just things that we don't understand.
Yeah, and you want to solve it, but then it's just listen.
You don't understand.
That's honestly my biggest concern for both of my kids. Really, is how if they have problems communicating what they're feeling or what the problem is how do you like I know I deal with that with like employees and even friends and with my wife, like, but no, that's my biggest fear, I guess, or not fear, but concern is like, how do you, especially with my daughter, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I might be more concerned with my son's emotional.
You say that now, though. I mean,
right.
You
He's
hear
4.
stories. So I think one of the best things that I heard from my mother-in-law about my wife, when she was a teen, my mother-in-law said that she's like, I loved her, I just didn't like her. She's like, she was mean, and it was just overwhelming. I'm like, I can't even imagine dealing with the ups and downs of the emotions, like the feels of a girl, like you know what I mean? Like we don't know how to figure that out. I mean,
like I see hints of it with my daughter, and again, she's 2, so I think really it's just toddler stuff, but it's more intense than with my son.
They act like that too when they're teenagers.
Yeah,
they act like toddlers when they're teenagers.
Wonderful.
That's cool.
My wife is an elementary school teacher, and one of the things that she's always talked about was, look, if kids are kind of crazy at home and they're emotional and they're disrespectful or all these things that seem like you're like, how is this my child? Mm-hmm. It's the good thing is like if you're providing a safe place for them to test out like being crazy.
Yeah, it's
good that it's at home because at school
that's true.
And out in public,
I can attest to that.
Often not doing it. But if you're providing that, and that part, you're just like, how is this my offspring?
Right.
Yeah,
but at school, they're like, oh, your kids are amazing. They're so quiet. They're so calm. And you're like, what are you talking about?
No, 100%.
That's true, though. I mean, so you say that because like I picked up my son from daycare the other day, and I was talking to his teacher, and he's telling me how great he's been doing, and he's really good, and this and that. I'm like, really? That's weird. I'm like, I expect him to be like he is at home, or he's just like,
crazy.
Makes me crazy. But
yeah, I mean, I tell Steve all the time because his kids go to one of my centers.
Okay.
And I tell him all the time, he's like sometimes he's like, Sam had like a rough weekend or whatever, like be prepared because on Monday it's going to be rough. And I'm like, dude, like he was great today. Like I'm
always stunned by that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not there to see
you get into that environment where they know they're in a different environment where they can't be or they're not supposed to be as free with their emotions. And no, don't get me wrong. We try and let them be who they are. But at the same time, I think that's just a natural, like human thing is like even adults, like I'm very different at home than I am in public. And I'm different like in like a business meeting than I am with guys at the bar hanging out or at a game or something like, you know what I mean? Like we all have our different scenarios and environments that we're in and how we deal with things. So kids are no different, I guess.
No, as far as we know.
I don't know. I think the biggest part that I've probably learned is letting the children be who they are. Like there's that, I don't know who wrote the quote, but it's, prepare the child for the path, not the path for the child, right?
Right.
And so, no matter who they're going to be, how they're going to be, how they're going to react, as long as you prepared them for whatever their path is going to be. Instead of saying, "Oh, hey, look, you have to do this and do this and do this." That as long as you're preparing them for whatever it is, that allows them to, it provides, autonomy. It allows them to feel confidence that they're able to do what they think is right, kind of thing. And then as they get older, all of a sudden, when you go from the 4-year-olds to a 13 and then to a 17, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, my daughter is like making good decisions. She's making and she's probably making bad decisions too, but
sure.
Hear about
yeah,
those.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
but she's going to work, she's having good experiences, and she's growing up.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see. And you hope the whole time, like, I hope what I'm doing is right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You're doing lots of wrong things too, but
sure. Well, we all did, right? Like, what 16, 17-year-old doesn't like make? What was that?
Just a little rapping.
That's just the collab, guys. Don't worry.
We have a breach.
There's a breach in Sector 6.
Cover my sector. So yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing too. Like you're saying, like you want them as a parent, you don't want to make the mistake of trying to lead them and tell them what to do. Like you said, let them be their own person. Like we all want them to be something. Whether it be like, I want my son to be this great athlete, or I want him to do this and I want him to do that. It's like you're right though. It's like you gotta let him find out what he's interested or he or she's interested in, and let him take that path.
I agree.
Guide them the right way, but don't force them in a way that to an extent. But I'm saying, like, as far as like sports go, don't force them to do something. Or
yeah, I mean, that's something common that we've talked to a lot of our guests about is like, I think it's natural for parents to have this idea in their head of what they think their kids are going to do. And like, it's a scary path to go down when you start like trying to map out their lives for them. So I think like the quote that you brought up about preparing them for the path is brilliant. I mean, it's so important, it just makes sure that you kind of are teaching them values and like what we like to say is raise good humans. If you can do that, then they'll be prepared to make good decisions no matter what the situation is.
I agree. And think about it too. Look, so far we survived, right?
Yeah.
We did some stupid stuff, which is terrifying to me.
And they're going to do it too.
I know.
Right. That's the hard thing to comprehend or come to terms with. Because you don't like, I mean, I still fall into it all the time. I'm like, my 4-year-old, I'm like, why can't you? All right. So here's a really good example. My kid. So this week was the first week coming back after winter break.
Okay.
So again, he's 4. He's in junior kindergarten. It is 4 and 5-year-olds. It is not, it's full day, but it's not like kindergarten. You know what I mean? Like it's really close. It's junior kindergarten.
Okay.
So for the first 3 days, when you have a good day, you get a stamp on that day of the calendar.
Okay.
So for the first 3 days, he did not get a stamp for ridiculous things. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. So on Monday,
was he biting?
No, he wasn't biting. Although he was a biter when he was a toddler. I'm glad he got out of that. No, maybe worse. I don't know. So mind you, this is Catholic school.
Okay.
And hey.
Oh, get some fans out there.
So Monday, I go to pick him up from school. I'm excited to see him because he's been home for a few weeks. So I pick him up and I look at his folder, and it's written out in like pink pen. Gibson, my son's name is Gibson. Gibson yelled penis in the middle of class today. And I'm like, and so
Was it really?
Typically, like, I'll ask, like, hey, how was his day? And it was really busy, first day back. So I just kind of grabbed him and left.
Saw the note and then they avoided.
So then I saw the note when we got to the truck, and I'm like, wait a minute, Gibson, what is this about? And like, he's giving me this like off the wall story. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to talk to your teacher tomorrow. So the next day I go, and it's Gibson was hitting and kicking like with his friends. I'm like, okay. So that aside, I need to know, why was he yelling penis? And so it was almost an acceptable answer. Like they were,
He told you.
They were like dressing or doing a gingerbread man, and they were putting buttons down, and like they went all the way down, and he was just like, "Oh, it's down by the penis."
Oh, see, I thought he was
anatomic.
like, screamed like penis.
No,
like he was playing the
no.
penis game like back in the day. You know,
So he's like anatomically correct, but like we had to like discuss with him like, hey, there's certain things that you don't say in certain situations, blah blah blah.
Well, that's tough though. I mean, your kid is that age, and you're like, okay, well, that's your penis or what have you. And
Right.
Like,
Well, and
oh, this is great. I know what that is. I'm gonna, it's
right.
And
And
then you make it seem like it's like a bad thing. So then they're like,
exactly. And so
So
we
it's
had to
more
have this
fun to
talk. We're
say
like,
it.
look, it's not that it's a bad word. It's just that there's certain situations that like
you shouldn't just scream penis.
right. And it's one of those ones that is really hard to discuss with your 4-year-old because me and my wife were just looking at each other like laughing about it.
That's
and,
awesome.
You know. So then, all right. So then we had to go through the hitting and kicking thing, which is the typical boy stuff. They're wrestling at, recess time and whatever. And like, it's not that I want to brush it off because again, there's a time and place for that sort of thing. And school's not one of them. So we talked about that a little bit. So I pick him up Wednesday and I'm like, all right, he spent 2 days with like no fun at all. Like eat dinner, take a shower, go to bed, like read your books. Like that's it. He's definitely got it. So Wednesday,
Oh God, this is 3 days in a row.
So 3 days in a row. So Wednesday, yelled penis and was hitting and kicking kids.
What was Thursday
I'm like,
like?
come on.
What happened on Thursday?
So Thursday, Friday, luckily, Wednesday night, like,
You had to talk.
yeah, like it was, he got nothing. So Thursday and Friday were good. He made good choices and like, all that kind of
good
stuff.
choices.
So,
I like
which
it.
was great. But it's like, like he's 4 and I get that, but I thought by now, like we would have, like those shouldn't be, like we've talked about those things before. And I understand that repetition, right? Like people need to hear something 10,000 times before they fully understand it or do something 10,000 times before you can actually understand what you're doing. I still thought that I would not have to tell him not to scream penis and continue to hit and fight and, wrestle with other kids,
It could get worse.
And it absolutely could. But like the last 2 days, he made good choices and he was responsible. So that was good.
That's good. See, well,
That's how you learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, man.
It's one way to learn.
That's
Sure,
those
sure.
are just lessons
That's
learned
how
for the
we
kids and
Right. Yeah.
lessons learned for the kids and the parents.
Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah. If you want to learn something, just go into a random building and scream penis and then deal with the consequences.
see what happens. Now I get arrested.
All right. So we've definitely hit the record for saying penis on the show.
Yeah.
Penis. Okay, so so let me ask you this. Okay, so with a 17-year-old,
Yes.
what is it, 17, 13, and 11?
17, 13, 11.
11, okay.
Yep, 2 girls young.
So are your kids involved in like extracurricular activities like sports or like anything like that, or like plays and things like that? I mean, are you
Absolutely everything.
everything?
It's
so you're
a
just
full-on logistical play every single day. So
Yeah.
my wife, so I get the kids up in the morning, have breakfast with the kids every day, get them to school. My wife is a teacher. She comes home earlier than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I work longer hours, later hours. And so she does the afternoon, evening shift stuff. So it's a full-on. And because her mother's a teacher, she's very good about homework and this and that, and everything else, making sure we're on point. And then I come in and it's making sure lunches are made the next day, and it's a whole production.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a routine,
We're
yeah,
getting
that's
there.
good. That's
which is good.
But the son, that's the thing. You can remind him for 4 days straight. Don't forget make your lunch. Oh, my lunch box it's in my locker. Tomorrow's gonna be 17 degrees. Oh, my jacket's also in my locker. I'm gonna tell a quick story.
Yeah, please.
absolutely.
That's what you're here for.
So, similar to your son, we were on winter break for some time, a couple weeks there, and I said, okay, to my son, let's make sure you have your lunch for tomorrow. And I went to double check because you have to you can't believe him. You have to go.
It's fair.
You have to go see. Let me open.
Although I thought I only had a few years of that, but
No,
apparently not.
But he's making his lunch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now there
that's
might
good.
be an apple and some pretzels in there, but it's healthy.
Right. Yeah.
Just not
It's food.
So he opens up I said, well, let's find your lunchbox. And he goes, oh, it's my backpack smells. So this is concerning because this is the night before the first day of school
Right.
from previously before
2 weeks
Christmas.
ago. Yeah.
He goes, it really smells. Do you have some like spray, like Axe or deodorant I can spray them? I said, well, why don't we look at the root?
It's the most boy thing I ever heard right there.
So me, because of my background, I said, well, let's determine what the root cause of the smell is. And he just wanted to mask it. Yeah. So I pull it out and I go, oh, your lunchbox is in here and it's been here for however long. So bananas and pears can ferment.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they can.
Yeah.
So that's out, right? And that so we take care of that part, right? And that's we're soaking it and cleaning it and whatnot. Back to the backpack in his bedroom, which has been sealed up for 2 weeks. Let's just double check. Was why I sprayed my books because they smell. So let's take your books out. Let's see what's happening. There was an apple that had fermented. Half of the apple had turned to. It's probably had some alcohol content. Probably nice cider, hard cider happening. That had somehow molded to the side of the backpack in the Ziploc bag and pulled it out, and we disposed of that, but and cleaned it all up. But that happens.
Things to look
forward to right
there.
So that was in his room for at least 2 weeks. It wasn't discovered until the night before the first day of school back.
Luckily, it wasn't summer break.
So
it'll happen.
So
you have to make sure your expectations are reasonable.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a preemptive dad hack here.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Check your kids' belongings before or after when break starts.
Yeah, when break starts,
rather than the night before.
Bags. I like that.
It's a good lesson.
Dad hack.
Good dad hack.
It's a good one. I have to go see actually what's happening.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I love that. We have like deodorant or like.
I gotta be honest. I would totally have axed that shit.
We all would.
You're fine. Get out of here.
Axe on that? Yeah, like a can and a half.
So Chad's not even coming.
Chad's not even real.
We use the scent. It's called Dark Temptation.
Ooh.
Just so you know.
I like that.
Sounds.
Little plug there.
Oh, Sanjay uses it too, I think.
That is his scent of choice.
Just called him out.
Man.
Nice.
Oh, God.
Meanwhile, so the 17-year-old is good. She's sleeping in. She's doing college courses and high school stuff. My 13-year-old, who has the mind of a complete CEO or an engineer, is prepared her lunch menu for the entire week. Everything's clean, organized. Everything's put together. It's phenomenal. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Didn't have to
amazing.
ask. But my son is still dealing with fermented apples in his backpack.
Yeah, I don't think that'll get better. I feel like that happens to me still. So
it sleeps in the clothes he wears during the day.
I mean, I do that sometimes, but
depends on what goes on the night before.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually podcast nights.
Yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be interesting.
No, that's awesome. Wow. All right.
Yeah. So those are things to look forward to. Hopefully, so maybe Ian, with Gibson, it'll just be the same for a long time. And then Sloan, maybe she'll just be. I feel like the girls seem to be a little more organized. I feel like the girls seem to be on top of things a little bit more. They develop a little bit quicker than boys do.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They seem to be more like conscious of things before boys are. I think boys are naturally more reckless and just kind of.
Well, I know already Sloan prefers things to be more organized. Like she like gets her toys and she puts them like color coordinated and stuff like that, which is kind of cool, to whereas Gibbs just,
Yeah. Yeah, and me saying what I just said before too is like I'm just saying that like from what I think, but I don't know if that's actually true. But I'm not saying.
I mean, it sounds right.
It sounds good, right?
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
I'll take it as
gospel.
authoritative.
Yeah, all right, good.
I would say too. The big part too is that no child is. I mean, I have 3, right? So and you guys have
we have 2 each.
Two each. Okay. Yeah. And no child is the same at all. Right. There's the complete dynamic happening, whether you've got 2 or 3 or 7 or 9 or whatever it is.
Ooh.
And so I was 1. So for me, one of the biggest things is that I lost growing up. Good or bad, all the attention was on me,
right.
And I didn't always want that. But then you're always watched, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as we started having children, I had privacy as a child. I didn't have it as a father. Ever. Like in your most, what I would presume. Look, I was talking dad. So I don't know. Probably in the once my first daughter was walking, right, and she could open the door, and you're in the bathroom. We think you're in your bathroom, and you're in the midst
safe
of
space.
Yeah. No, you think so?
My entire life, I had no one walked in when I was going to the bathroom. But then, she'd walk in and then she would lean on your lap while you were
you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, so
sitting down the toilet.
now?
Like right now?
Talk to me?
I couldn't understand. I could not understand it. It took me, I'll be honest, it took me years to be okay with the fact that I would have conversations from the bathroom. And I also see why, Al Bundy would stay in the bathroom forever.
Right.
Because it was a safe
Yeah.
place. It was
You
the
just got to
safest
learn to
place.
lock,
It
double
is a
lock
safe
the door.
place if you have to lock it. And then my kids will be like, why are you locking it? And then they start getting really pissed.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you guys bothering me now?
It's
You haven't
almost
talked to me in,
worse.
like, an hour.
Yeah.
Like I'll take a shower and then like Sam will walk in and he'll like rip open the curtain and be like, hey Dad, I'm like, your mom's out there. Go talk to her. Like give me a few minutes to like just
Or
take
if
a
they,
shower.
if they have you seen mom.
Yeah.
Right,
Where's
yeah.
Mom? She's in the basement, buddy. I'm trying to take a shower.
Go look.
Go look. Go call for her.
Again,
So-
this is like look for the apple, right? Go look for your mother. Go discover this for yourself.
Like,
Look for
please.
your apple. Yeah, no, luckily, or maybe not luckily, I don't know. Between having a brother, especially when we grew up, we had one bathroom in the house. So it was like there was no privacy. Everyone was always walking in and,
I feel
pounding
like
on the door.
you're used to it. Like, yeah, you said you were the only child. So, yeah. I mean, like, I was the youngest of three. So, like, I was getting away with everything.
No.
And, like, I was like, they're like, yeah, do whatever. Like, now my oldest brother, he was the one getting in trouble for everything. The youngest one, or the middle was just the instigator. Like, he was the one that kind of got away with things. And then there was me. And it's like, yeah, we give up with you. Just go figure it out, dude.
What's the age gap from you to your middle?
So 2 years. So
Okay.
it's
So close.
So yeah, we're all very close in age. We're all very close still. Like we're
Yeah.
really good friends, and we hang out, and we get our kids together all the time. So it's awesome. It's
the
really
best part.
It is.
It's honestly what it's all about.
It is. It's amazing, and I think to have siblings, I'm like your kids will have that relationship. I mean, I hope you hear stories, and like you never know if they're all going to be best buddies or what have you, but. The hope is that they will be like that when they get older.
They will.
Sure.
Keep the family close and everything. So it's pretty awesome. I loved having my brothers.
You guys have a good situation, like with all your kids are around the same. I mean, Mila's
yeah.
the oldest, but
We have, and they all get along. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a lot of girls in my family now. Like my
Yeah.
brothers both have 2 girls.
and you got the 2 boys.
My cousin has girls. Like it's like, and we have the 2 boys in the family. And I'm like, somebody have a boy, please. I want somebody else to have a boy,
Right.
just so you could see how awesome a boy is.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to have a daughter. So we're in a situation now where my wife is thinking that she wants to have a 3rd, and I'm not.
So therefore you are. Oh, you're
Yeah,
not.
no, I mean, no, yeah, I know, right? I mean, do I have a say?
Not so much.
But yeah, exactly. So she really wants that. She really wants a daughter, and I would love to have a daughter. I think it would be awesome.
It is.
But I'm
It
all
actually
set with
is.
2 at this
It
point.
really is.
I'm like all set with 2.
Well, here's the problem. Both of us right now are at that stage
You're in a
where
stage. Yeah, well, go ahead.
where you're almost done with diapers.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It's easier.
it's a lot easier. Like schedules are better. Do you know what I mean? Like, and just like the thought of going through an infant process again just sounds
I can't even fathom.
exhausting, really.
But then you have 2 children that can help. I'm just trying to help the case for your wife.
I appreciate that. Can you not? I hope she won't watch this. It's fine.
Right.
No, she probably will. She'd be like, see? She says that all the time. That's like one of our arguments. She's
Yeah.
like, Sam will help. I'm like, will he, though? I asked him to get me something out of the fridge earlier, and he looked at it. I'm like, can you grab that for me, buddy? Grab me that pizza right there. I'm going to throw it out. He goes, no. He just walks away. I'm like, dude, you're standing right next to it. I'm like, he's like, yeah, pretty much. He literally pretty much might as well just flick me off. Like, he just said, yeah, go fuck yourself, Dad. And then I look at Ben, and I'm like, Ben? He's like, they both just walk away. I'm like, okay, thanks, guys. I'll go get it myself. So I would hope that they would help. My niece, on the other hand, my brother's kids were, I'm trying to think how the age difference. They're 5 years apart. And my niece, when her sister was born, she was a huge help.
Yeah.
Like, she helped with everything.
Well, Mila's always been that way, though.
She's very
helped with
nurturing.
all of our kids. Like,
She's the best, man. Like, if she comes to my house.
how old is she? 8?
She's
9?
9, I think.
She'll be 9.
this year.
Yeah.
In March. So she's great. Like I have all my nieces at my house, and like my kids, they're all playing together. We just put Mila with them in the basement.
Emilia, who's
That's my oldest niece. She's 9.
Okay.
I stick her with them, and I don't have to like. It's just fine. She like
awesome.
you go down there. She's like she plays school with them, so she's
Yeah.
the teacher, and she has them all sitting,
It's amazing.
and she has like a whole like. I mean, she has like handouts for them. She's like, all right, guys, here you do this, and the crazy thing is, they all sit there and listen to her.
Yeah, I love it.
like, I can't even do that.
Yeah,
like
right.
my kids are looking at me like,
Trust me, like when we were at Sam's birthday party, I offered Mila a job.
She's great.
There's a funny dynamic that occurs too when you have like get-togethers in your house, whatever it is, where families come over with friends and kids and so forth, and the more kids the merrier, right? And there's a dispersion between the adults and children, right? And for a while, it's great when there's lots of there's a cacophony of crazy noises and so forth, and then once the kids get to a certain age, it gets quiet.
Yeah,
it's either okay,
or it's really
bad.
bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
So what's happening now is in our house, for example, you have all the adults upstairs, and then all the kids are downstairs, and the same thing happening with Mila, for example. It's the same thing with our some child will take
the reins on everything.
Take command of it, and you're like, okay, hey, so and so, is it good? Yeah, they're good. Hey, whatever it is they're playing. I don't know, Nerf gun, whatever. It doesn't matter. But they're playing
fine
something.
They're good.
Nothing's broken.
No one's crying.
There's no blood.
No people cry. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. It does happen.
But if they come upstairs, it's
Right.
Yeah, then they're like, I want to have a conversation.
Well, the best is when this is what I imagine, because this is what we did when we were kids, is like you'll probably hear that and you'll hear like, I'm going upstairs. And I'm like, no, don't tell mom or don't tell dad. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. You can get me back. Like,
this is here.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Maybe this is a more of a I don't know what kind of a hack this is. But I told my kids, goes back a couple of years. We've had this conversation repeatedly. Is look when your mom and dad leave, right, and you guys are going at each other's throats and things are happening, right, and I don't care if there's blood is spilled or things are broken or whatever's occurred, right. When we come home, you need to look like you're having a tea party and everything is awesome. Your job as children is meant to be look like when we come home, everything is perfectly fine. I don't care if you guys literally were almost killing each other. So
I like that.
So the way we put this is how you this is teamwork, right?
Yeah.
So from a child perspective, right, and then into school, and then into a corporate or work environment, right?
That's real life.
This is literally teamwork.
That's literally real life, though.
So when the boss shows up,
right,
everything's fine.
Yeah, everything's great.
Yeah, we're cool.
Yeah, we're not behind on this at all. Like
good.
it's totally fine
here.
Yeah.
I didn't just threaten to, whatever.
Exactly.
All right, well then
That's really good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love that so much. I've never thought about that before.
That's what I love about this.
Look,
I wish somebody would have told me and my brother that.
You guys probably did it.
Don't
you think?
I think you probably were like, okay, mom and dad are here, like,
yeah.
Okay, everything's fine.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Shut up.
Clean that up right now.
I didn't punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And we didn't break that vase over
You
there.
can totally get me back later.
What's the story? What's the story?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. That's good.
I like that.
And I would say too, for younger father, and we probably can go back to this too, I'm sure, but for younger children, newer fathers and moms, as the kids are getting older too, they start to pick up on this, right? And then what's funny is like all of a sudden they do get quieter, and I would say even as recent as last night, for example, my daughter, my 17-year-old, and I are having a conversation, Nina, having a conversation, and she's telling me stories about things that I had no idea of having in their life, right? And all of a sudden you go from knowing every single thing that occurs in their day to day, that he's yelling penis and so forth.
Right.
Penis.
Yeah, there it is again.
So,
Two more times.
To my daughter telling me stories about what's happening at work, for example, right? And dynamics there and college choices and that kind of stuff. And then my middle one talking about friends, and my son talking about his girlfriends he has and that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden the conversations get pretty mature. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I think you, just to segue a little bit, you start shifting from like that, oh my gosh, I have a 24-hour a day job with my children, to all of a sudden like, I really have to change to like, I'm kind of coaching, I'm a friend, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a...
that's got to be a weird transition, and I guess I never really thought, I guess I've thought about it, but the way to hear you, I guess, talk about how like segmented it might, like one day you'll realize.
I think it doesn't seem realistic to us at this point in time. Right. But it will be before we know it. And it's like, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is.
Because you don't know exactly what they're doing at all times.
Right.
They're not constantly being monitored. And,
right.
I would say too, especially as a father with a daughter, right? You're typically by far one of the most, poignant male figures in their lives. Right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's crazy when your kids are 2 or 4 or 5 or 6, or there's still princesses in your
Sure.
life, right? And daddy is everything, right?
Yeah.
And then right around 11, 12 years old, things start changing and they turn into the devil, right?
Yeah.
The devil,
Right.
So that really does happen.
It hurts. So then all of a sudden, but as long as you're there for them all the time, right? And then it comes back around, and they're the devil again, and then they're princess again. But I would tell friends of mine, for example, who have daughters who are younger, that oh my gosh, I can't believe your daughter's 17, she graduated high school, she has a boyfriend. Oh my gosh, she's a Marine, like that kind of stuff. It's and it's crazy, but it's.
I have
actually
questions.
it's really
I
good. It's really
I have
good.
some questions.
It's really. But I remember
questions.
very clearly how I worried about my girls, or my older daughter now. My older daughter, 17-year-old now, Nina. When she was younger, I can't think of her liking boys.
Right.
I can't think of her dating boys. That's my girl.
Right.
My little girl. And then I have another little girl coming. It's the same thing. You worry about the same thing, and all of a sudden you're like, it's kind of a cool transition. All of a sudden you're like, she's actually a really cool young lady. Yeah. And we're having good conversations.
It's cool to watch them grow.
It's not as scary as long as you're talking and you're open and you're trying to lead by example.
And I think that's important, is to have that relationship with your kids, like to be open with them and to be understanding and
huge.
And I guess you always hear oh, you just don't understand me. You just don't know what it's like. And it's you try to be open. I can imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And
I have questions.
Daughter questions, boyfriend questions.
You have a military background.
Yeah. So I was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Marines are all like saints, so right, like Ian.
I would say Marines are very polarizing. So they're either wonderful citizens, such as myself, or they're not.
Ian wasn't always.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. No. Yeah.
What's the question?
I'm trying to formulate the question because all I'm thinking about right now is my daughter dating a Marine, and it scares the crap out of me.
I skip the first part. I'll give some segue. So
yeah.
So he's a Marine now, but we also they knew each other in high school. He's
okay.
A little bit older, and then they've maintained a long relationship.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Well. So you know the kid.
Okay.
Well
yes.
And everything.
Very well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
He's not like
in my head.
He's not like a 30-year-old Marine. Yeah. She's 70.
30-year-old Marines are what's crazy to think about though? Like the Marine, like military in general. You hear about guys in the military, and for example, so I'm 34, and I was just having this conversation with my dad tonight, is that had I stayed in, I would be on my 17th year of service.
Oh my gosh.
And it seems like a year ago that I got out, you know what I mean? But I'd be in for 17 years. I would be like a pretty high-ranking individual at this point with some real freaking power. You know what I mean?
You have power.
Yeah. That's trust me. I love the way things turned out. You know what I mean? But yeah. All right. So there's a pre-existing either relationship or they at least knew each other prior to.
Yeah, of course.
And okay. All right, that makes a lot more sense. I have less questions now.
Well, here's some of the stuff that I think maybe dads with the younger children now, if we're talking about daughters in particular, think about their 8-year-old princesses, right? One day are gonna like some other man in their life besides their father, right? And so this is where depends whatever your marital situation is, spouse or no spouse or whatever it is. For me, I'm fortunate. My wife and I have been married for a long time, and my oldest daughter and my wife are very close. And so there's some things that I probably would come in with the dad view, like you should wear a dress like a missionary,
right?
And be in a covered head to toe.
Sure.
And my wife's like, hey, make sure this, make sure that. And she's having the nice, the female conversations, which are great. Or mom to daughter conversations rather, and then every so often when I can, when I'm what's the best word here?
So you're allowed to, or
I've gotten in trouble for saying the dad responses. And they've called me out in it, right? But also trying to say, hey, let me just be, hey, just so you know, as a female, when you are wearing a shirt and you lean over, right? Be aware that I don't care if the man is 15 or he's 65.
Right.
We're like pre-genetically disposed
Sure.
to just look at,
Yeah.
you know, and so just this the primal human instincts that exist. And so,
And I don't think there's anything wrong with like trying to help them understand that.
but you get the dad,
But yeah,
dad,
I
you
know.
know, you get that instead. And so part of it's like, well, I'm just trying to, teach
Yeah,
you.
you
be
just
careful,
need to know.
you know. And so there's that tempering between your spouse and yourself that, you know, saying, here's how you kind of coach them through it. And there's sometimes where I have no clue. And my wife has had the complete conversations with my daughter, and everything's really cool.
Yeah.
And my wife just says, "Hey, don't worry about it. I got it. Cool." And then every so often, I get to do a little input and say, "Is he treating you right? Is he talking to you? Is he opening doors for you? Is he doing the right things? Is he, you know?" And then if he comes over and he's respectful to my wife and to my kids, you know, see where it goes from there.
Sure.
But
I'll say this about the Marine Corps: it makes you grow up. Well, it has the capacity to make you grow up and can really teach you how to be a good person. That's not always the case, of course. I know served with a lot of guys that like I would never wouldn't let them be around my kids, or you know what I mean. But I've also been with a lot of guys that like I would let them, you know, watch my kids, and I would trust them with everything. You know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool. And you seem, he must be a pretty good dude.
it's a tempered respect.
Understandably.
It's my girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's your
I mean,
so-
it's just terrifying to me, and you seem very cool about it.
I've had some time.
Sure.
Look, to be
It's not new. You're right.
the dude's 6'4", right? But as a Marine and all those, you know, characteristics you hear, but the bottom line is he, you know, has a healthy respect for
That's good.
for
That's good.
himself,
It's
my
important.
family, and that's what it is. And so, but it's still my girl. She'll always be my girl.
Absolutely,
My middle
forever.
one, same thing, will always be my girl. My son will always be
Right.
my son. So same thing. And I don't know what's going to happen with my son as he is falling in love every other week with a new girl. What's going to happen when he was 18
Right.
and
Yeah.
17, 18 and so
Right.
forth. And our audience, I'm sure, can relate.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's actually on a lighter side.
Sure.
I know from our previous conversations, you are a runner, right?
Oh,
Or-
yeah.
Right?
a
So
runner? Like
like
doing
he
some
runs.
marathons?
not like me and you like go jog around the corner and then like go die.
Like I have to get to
Like,
the bathroom.
I think he
in the
actually
basement and
runs.
I'll briefly elaborate.
Yeah, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So for many, many years, so I have probably a healthy addiction. I have an addiction with,
That's why we're here today to talk to you about this addiction.
a small, we're like, okay, safe place. So, I'd say a pretty healthy, open addiction with trying to sort of self-medicate through fitness. And I've been through whether things are good or bad. One of the biggest things is that I can always put myself through tough physical situations to sort of like regulate where I'm at
Sure.
in life, right?
Yep.
So rather than turning to, you know, worse choices. This is a good choice.
Yeah. I mean, this is very good,
it's a
actually.
great
But
It is.
So for for a large part of my children's lives, I was running. I came from an endurance and competitive bicycling background for
Okay.
many years. Played soccer for many years, all through high school and college. A number of sports, and then turned to bicycling for a lot of years. Raced at a pretty competitive level, and then once I got married and moved to Ohio, cycling is not
Right.
you know, super available 6 months out of the year.
sure.
Yep.
So I turned to running 100-mile long trail races instead, which seemed like
Like the ultra marathon things. Yeah.
I did that for a long time. So part of it was that, you know, it was tough work environments, just law of hours, that kind of stuff, and so it was tough. And I think that this is the relatively intense, probably, you know, term we're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Is that there's that part where you're driving. What's I don't know. You're really driven to really produce and really complete these incredible tasks that are physically and individually really, really difficult
Sure.
and highly
Yeah.
strategic and very painful.
Mm-hmm.
And to try and, quite frankly, for me, it was a way to it was kind of church for me. It was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
hey, look, if I'm angry and I want to go run for 3 or 4 hours and I come back not angry, cool.
Yeah,
If I come back 3 or 4 hours later and I'm still angry, it's probably something I need to address.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So part of that, from a parenting perspective, is that that mentality probably permeated pretty well throughout my parenting years, which has been most of my children's lives. I've chilled a bit since then, but not a terrible amount. I've got some good stories from that.
Yeah. So
I'll pause.
So no, so like, since I knew like the running thing, I remember when I got out of boot camp, for me, I was like the best shape I've ever been in, and I could run, 5 or 6 miles without like breaking. Not I would sweat, but I would like it wasn't breathing hard. You know what I mean? Like it was amazing. Dying to get back to that. But have you gotten the chance to show him what's up? Like, can he beat you in a race, or like, have you guys gotten to do anything like that? With the Marine? Yeah.
There's 2 good stories. Well, there's one good story, at least I'm going to say this one because he can't defend himself, is,
That's perfect.
this goes back maybe about a year ago. So we had a local 5K. My daughter was running, cross country. Her boyfriend was about to go into base camp. And so, he's wearing his Marine shirt, and it was a local 5K, and I was still kind of running a little bit, and I signed him up. I said, look, I'll pay your registration fees. So at the race start, I looked to Austin, and I said, what's your plan? Are you going to run with me or my daughter? Because I'm running with Dina for a little bit, and then I'll catch up to you. I was like, all right. So I smoked him by 4 minutes.
Hell yeah.
So
That's a big gap in a 5K.
The 5K. I said, so look, I'm over 40, and you're about to go to the Marines. And so when you come back from boot camp, this is the only chance I have right now is to catch you. Because once he comes back from boot camp, there's no way I'm going to catch the kid. But he did the right thing, quite frankly, and stayed with my daughter the whole time, who was having some knee issues and whatnot. And he stayed with her and made the right choice there,
good.
I thought.
Was that a test?
Yeah.
Was that like the test from like a Bronx Tale, where
Right.
if she leans over and unlocks that door, right? She's a keeper. But like, it's like you made the right choice, buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good. So he's a
That's
gentleman.
He did good.
He did good, and
He's done good repeatedly. Yeah.
and you beat him.
So have you gotten to race since he's been?
No.
No.
Won't do it yet.
No.
No.
Have you been training?
I'm
preparation
mostly to I've been mostly doing CrossFit stuff, but
yeah, okay.
I'll still take it.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to do it. So there's a good story behind all this. We'll go back just a little bit here. So my daughter Nina, we'll talk about a little bit here. It's kind of fun because she's older. This goes back probably maybe 3-4 years ago. I was very heavily into my ultra marathons. I was running a ton. So 5-6 days a week, training incessantly. I would come home from work at 9-10 o'clock at night. I would then go suit up and I'd go run for a couple hours at night, and then go to sleep and get up at 5 and go to work. And it was an addiction for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Took me a while to admit that part, but but it kept me relatively sane. So my daughter would sign up for cross country and was doing a really good job. And during the summertime months, she said, "Hey, I'm chilling out." And then one day I was like, "Hey, do you have like a training plan for like, are you ready for this cross country season coming up?" And she's like, "Oh, I think the coach gave me a training plan." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Give me like, what's the plan? How far is it? Like, how many more? What are the intervals? Like, give me the what?" And she's like, "Oh, I think let me find it." So she finds it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're 2 weeks behind." I'm like, "That's it. I'm coaching you. Here we go." So this is bad. So this is part of it.
And she didn't like quit right then and there, like.
No, she had some buy.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. My dad's a runner. He runs 100-mile race. So we live real close to a park, and I said, "Cool, we're gonna go out for our first training run." We jog down. I'm real good about tempo. I pace her and stuff. And I was like, "What's the plan?" I've got it all written down on a piece of paper and in my watch and on the garment, all the stuff. And we're running through the park, and it was meant to be 30-second intervals on and then off, and this and all this. And I got a little relatively intense with it. So we're coming through a part of the park on the trails, and she's supposed to go on at 30 seconds all out, and she decided like at 15 seconds in she wasn't doing all out. And I don't get that. Like, to me,
Right.
you're going all out, and if you have to puke, you puke, and whatever.
Right.
And I'm running next to her. I'm like sidestepping next to her, and I was like, "Come on, you're at John. Telling me this. We run hard. We don't quit. Da da da." And she's like, "Dad, there's people on the trail. I don't care about those people." She's like, "They can hear you." I was like, "I don't care. They can hear me." She's like, "You seem crazy." I'm like, "It's okay." And I realized at that moment, I was like, I do seem crazy, but that's okay because I'm intense. Let's go. And we got
relatively intense.
Yes, there you go.
Well, and the thing is, she held to it. She stayed to, I'm going to do what feels right for me. And I was like, I don't like this. And we finished the run and we jog home, and I'm all, kicking the dirt. And I'm like, my daughter's not giving everything. And
Right.
And I was like, oh, I need to chill. I need to chill out.
Yeah.
That was my New Year's resolution. That next year, I need to chill the F out. And she wouldn't let me coach her for a while. But we still talk about that run for a long time. And what it showed was, like, she gained some stuff from it. I gained some stuff from it.
Right.
I backed off. She went to her real cross-country coach. She had a good season. She had a great time. She made the right choices. But the cool thing was that, I respected her choices.
Yes.
Right.
She respected that and I remember telling her afterwards, yeah, I might need to, like, take a breather. I look like an insane monkey on the side of the trail with people looking at me, and I should probably relax.
No,
hey, I mean,
but you know what though? I mean, like, I hear that story, and I think, number one, like, how cool is it to be able to do something with your kid, like an activity with your kid to where you both learned something. I mean, the fact that it didn't end in her storming off and you saying, well, forget it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that could have very easily, well, right.
Metaphorically, yes.
Right.
It did.
But you were there, Ian. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I'm just going off of the story that I heard.
It took a minute. She did get to that point.
Okay. Well, but even so, then to reconcile afterwards and for you to say, like,
yes,
hey, I need
sure.
to chill out, and for her to say, I want to do it my way, and then for you to ultimately recognize that, like, okay, it was good that she made her own choice to go by her pace and whatever felt right for her. I think those are all healthy things, and probably led you to a better place.
Very
with making that resolution and everything else. And I think that's cool, like, to learn from your kids, right? I mean, because those are
100%.
I mean, I feel like I learn from my kids all the time, and I'm actually anxious because I can be intense in certain things in my life, and like,
we all can, man.
Right.
We're all guilty of it, and
know,
and it's same thing with coaching your kid, like, for the run and everything, or coaching your kid in, like, something simple, and you're like, come on, why aren't you, like you said, like, giving 110% on this? Why aren't you completely focused on this? Like,
I mean, so that's something that I drill into my kids all the time, and again, they're 4 and 2, but my son, he'll repeat it back to me now. So one of the things that I learned at a very young age, and I think it's a good life principle, is if you're going to do something, do it right. And so, like, I'll give him a task, like, clean up your room, and he'll do it, and he goes, all right, I'm done. And I'll go, do I need to go check? And he goes, no, it's good. Okay. And then, like, 10 minutes later, I'll go up to his room and I'm like, Gibson, get your butt up here. And, like, there'll be, like, 2 things out, and I'll be like, if you're going to do something, do it right. And you'll get up there, and my wife's sitting there like, he's 3, at the time, he was 3 years old. Like, he cleaned up a lot of his room. I'm like, I know, but he's got to learn that if you're going to do something in this world, you do it right. And so, like, I had to, like, catch myself on some of that stuff and at least give, like, some positive reinforcement, and then say, why don't you finish that? You know what I mean? Or whatever. So I
100%.
It's kind of like my parallel to that. And, I try and work on that stuff too. So
there's a related, this is a theoretical dad hack.
Okay. I like that.
all right,
Non-tested?
No, it's tested, just not by me.
Okay.
It's conceptual.
Okay.
No, wait.
Okay.
It's a good hack. I've just never used it to success. Okay. So I have a my background is in Lean Six Sigma, so in continuous improvement. And one of the things you do is you do lots of visual efficiencies, right? I had a great coach mentor in my work life who was a single mother, and as one of the examples she gave in our certification classes, this is years ago, was cleaning her room. Right now, this is not for her 4-year-old or 3-year-old.
Right.
So She has a daughter. I would say she's probably 12-ish. Is probably the age group, right? Age range. And the deal was when you said, "Hey, is your room clean?" And they said yes. Well, okay. Well, you walk in there and you're like, "Well, it's not clean because this is not put away." So let's establish what the operational definition of clean meant. So you clean your room. Let's all agree that this is what your room looks like clean.
Mm-hmm.
Take a picture of the room, what it looks like clean. Put that on the outside of the door. Oh. If your room looks like this,
that's
it's
clean.
Oh man, it doesn't look like this. It's not clean. So there's no gray of. Look, I've never done this.
I'm doing it,
but that's phenomenal.
After 4.
No.
Yeah, no. Ian's demanding perfection now, but I'm gonna hit this button real quick. That's genius.
Yeah,
I've never heard that before.
So this is true. This is true from like you talked about employees earlier. And sport, right? So same thing. If you, it's establishing your expectations of what it should look like. You've both agreed upon the expectation. You both said that's clean. I'm clean. That's clean.
Okay, let's take a picture.
If when I close your door, that room
that's
looks
what it should look
clean,
like.
Right.
If we both agree it doesn't look like that, then cool. There's no argument.
You know what? I'm gonna have so many pictures around my house. I'm gonna have like, hey,
my wife's gonna get pissed.
I'm gonna have like a picture of like the lawn, like Jacob's Field. Like, why does my front yard look like that, buddy? Look at those lines.
We're sitting there photoshopping.
Star in there.
I'm gonna be photoshopping all of our pictures in our house.
Look, I'm gonna give you guys this. Don't do this to your spouses.
Oh,
yeah. Excuse me. What? This doesn't look like the picture of the lasagna.
So I did this.
My shirts are supposed to be folded like this.
She just goes, "Okay, fuck you."
Get smacked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, real quick.
So I did this for I built a pantry for the house in the kitchen, and so talk about different personalities of the children, right? So my son, who is like just blown with the wind, right, and my older daughter who's doing her thing. My middle one, who's like me and thinks just like in complete pure logic, plus with the feminine side, just you got the emotional side. It's like it's a force. And so years ago, when I was building our pantry, I thought, okay, I'm gonna build the shelves to certain heights. So if you have cereal and it's a certain height, right? Mm-hmm. The shelf won't allow you to put the cereal in there.
Right.
So I would think as a guy, you don't put it there. It doesn't fit there. Small things, small spaces. Big things, big spaces. Right? It doesn't work that way. So for a number of weeks, we put Post-it notes that said, okay, this is cereal, this is condiments, this is whatever protein powders and so forth. And my only one that gets it is my middle daughter. My wife is like turns the cereal sideways and sticks it in. My son's like,
he's taking the bag out of the box and just shoving the bag in there.
It drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah, that would drive me insane.
But from a micro level, there's your family, right? And then from a work level or kids, it's what you realize very, very quickly is that like things that are really important to me, like how the silverware sits in the silverware tray, or how the cereal fits in the cereal shelf, is really important to me. It's not.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's not. That's like me in the dishwasher.
Oh my God, the dishwasher.
I reorganize the dishwasher every time my wife does it.
I do it all the time.
But you're good at it?
I make sure that it's like I have specific places for things to go.
I made the mistake of saying something about it.
I don't
once.
say anything. I just do it.
One time I made the mistake.
Okay, there you go.
I'll never do it again.
Good. See,
I just let her go back up to bed, and then I'll stop the dishwasher, and I'll redo everything.
I could fit so much more in there.
Well, and the stuff actually gets clean.
Much more room activities.
So much more room for activities.
Do step class.
So yeah, okay. So I have one question before we get into everything. So you've covered your dad hacks.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we don't even have to ask you anything about that unless you have another one. But I do want to say, so earlier in the conversation you mentioned like when you and the wife go out and you leave the kids at home, and what age did you start leaving the kids by themselves? Like how old was your oldest?
Mine were like 3 and no.
So that was 2 years ago. Gibson was 9 months.
Well, the dogs are there. So.
Yeah, the dogs are there. Put a bowl of water, leave a window cracked, and you're good to go. TV on, a few snacks.
That's a good question. So I would say 12-ish. I think when my oldest daughter was about. My wife's going to correct me on this one.
That's fine. I mean,
I would say about, in my head, it's about 12.
Okay.
So my oldest daughter was 12, and like you've got you've got cell phone.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a lot of ways to
You've told 5
contact
neighbors and everybody's good. And like, hey, we're gone for 32 minutes and we're going to be at this location.
Yeah.
That was it. And then to your point of being the youngest of 3, right, it's the same thing. So after a while, you're like, oh, hey, my son's Eli's been home for 4 hours by himself playing Xbox. Oh, cool.
Yeah, sweet.
Right. Yeah.
He's probably
he's
fine.
playing Minecraft, we're cool.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not playing.
He's not going
Call of Duty. But
yeah.
I would say that's the case. I would say that was the case. And you made a comment earlier, and it was talking about like being out of diapers. I believe it was.
Oh yeah, when the kids get out of diapers. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of the biggest things in my life. I remember the biggest like just complete sigh of like relief. And this is particularly probably being in Ohio or colder states where all of a sudden you don't have to put a kid that's in a giant puffer jacket into a car seat. When you no longer have to put your child into a car seat, you're out of diapers. That's a big stage one, right?
Yeah.
Then you're out of car seat, and you don't have to buckle your child in the seat every single time.
Dude,
I get into my own driver's seat. It's one of the biggest steps in life. You're like, oh, this is amazing.
It's funny.
It's a daily.
I think about that all the time, actually. So when I pick up my kid from St. Gabe's, so I see all the other parents that are picking up kids, and a lot of them are older. It goes all the way up to 8th grade, and like sometimes I see these like dads like just hop in the car, and like their kids are going around to the other side of the car again. I'm like, wow. Like today, it was like pouring rain,
dude.
He had like it's Friday, so we had to take it. He still naps at school. Like they have a short rest period or whatever. So he's got this like bag full of like a blanket and a pillow and stuff like that. So he's got his book bag, and I've got that bag, and it's raining, and he's fiddling around and being slow and everything else. I'm like, all right, Gibbs, it's pouring rain. Please get in the truck. And like, I have to lift him up into the truck and do that. I'm just getting poured on.
Yep.
And I'm looking at these guys like just in 2 seconds getting in the car.
It's got to be amazing. It's a daily struggle. Picking up the 2 kids at daycare.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, guys, holding their hands like, stay next to me. We're in a parking lot.
Right.
It's freezing. It's like, okay, then it's like, okay, get in the car. You're buckling one in, the other one's like standing. I'm like, dude, climb in the back of the car. Just get into the car, and he's dancing around.
Do your kids do? So Sloane's big thing right now is when I put her in her car seat, she wants to do the chest buckle.
Yeah,
she's like, Daddy, I want to do it.
I do myself
because I can do it myself now.
And then
I'm like,
it takes 40 minutes.
That's wonderful, but I'm getting soaked. Like, let me just do it.
I'm like, can you please?
The second half of your back is
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're like, just let me do it. I'm like, do you have any idea? I'm standing outside. Yeah. And then Sam yelled at me the one day. It was raining, for example. Yeah. He goes, oh, Dad, I'm getting sprayed. I'm like, tell me about it. I'm outside
in your shoulder.
Yeah. He's got like a sprinkle on his face. I'm soaked. I'm like, thanks, buddy. This is fun. I have to get both of you in the car.
That's a good one to look forward to, though.
So that's true, though. I do look forward to that.
I will say this, though. Here's the thing. I miss that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
you miss those
so
things,
now I'm like, oh, I have my sport coat in the back seat, hanging on the back seat. I have like my briefcase in the back, and I'm like, my son comes in. He's not fast enough, right, in the morning now. I'm like, hey, look, it's 7:07. You're not on the right side of my seat, and I'm in the driver's side already going. Come on. Yeah. Eli, listen, hey buddy, tomorrow we need to be a little bit faster on our numbers, right? Okay, it was 7:07 today. You do 7:03 tomorrow, and
relatively intensely.
Exactly. There you go.
So we're working on cycle time. So I spent 3 minutes.
Your splits are awful.
I've worked in logistics for a lot of years. Everything is very. But I do miss. So it's funny as you guys were talking. I remember there's an image in my head that pops in my head of my son sitting in the back seat with swim goggles on. I don't know what time of year it was. Maybe September. It wasn't swim season. What wasn't swim? We weren't going to.
There was no swimming.
You were not going to or coming from the pool.
Yeah, pacifier and swim goggles on, and I was like, "This is the most awesome thing ever."
Yeah.
This kid has no worries, nothing.
Like nothing. No F's given.
And put him in the seat, and I'm doing the whole you have to finagle your hands a certain way to make the 4 things come together so the buckle.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those ones, yeah.
Yeah. And he wasn't wanting to do it yet, and he's got a pacifier, and I'm like, I took a picture because this is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a hat too. There was a lot going on, but I remember now he's like, he's got his backpack is just right. His hoodie looks cool.
Yeah.
He's got a cell phone. Like he's all pimped out for the girls.
Right.
And I'm like, that's.
Then you miss those old days.
And it goes by it goes by.
I know. You try to take it all in, and it's just there's no stopping the time. It just goes by. It goes faster and faster every single year.
Right.
Photos, yeah.
Take photos.
Yeah. I would say that's one thing that we're pretty good about is my wife's really good about it. So she'll actually, I like wrestling around with my kids and stuff like that. I actually like really enjoy it, even though I tell them all the time, like, stop
Wrestling, but I'm going to wrestle with you.
Yeah.
Are they hurting you?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But like I'll sneak a peek sometimes, and my wife will have like the video out, so she takes like home videos all the time.
Oh, that's
you
cool.
know what I mean?
It's very cool, actually.
Which is cool, and we watch them all the time together. Or like,
That's awesome.
my wife's so good about like I'll say, oh, this and this is going on. Like, I'm just not in the mood. You know, just had a shitty day, and she'll send me like a video from like a year ago of me wrestling with the kids, or of my son like saying something crazy, hilarious.
Great,
you know what I mean?
actually.
Like she's really good about doing that, and I'm like, all right, thanks, I needed that. You know what I mean? Like,
so my wife's not good at that, but I am. So I make sure I take every picture. Like even when my son was, like when Ben was in the hospital, I have, for the 2 months he was in there, I have hundreds of pictures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I have pictures of everything. So what I will say, and this might be a dad hack, make slideshows. So, and it's this pink one. You want to hit it?
Okay, hit it.
Okay.
Right now?
Hold on, before you did it. Sorry. Now you can hit it. But there you go. But I will say is make slideshows. So like there was an app I downloaded when Sam was born, and it's called Magisto.
yeah, I remember.
Like so what I would do is like for the first year he was born, I was like, oh my God, I was doing like monthly videos. But anyway, what you do is you put like pictures and videos into this program, and what it does is it automatically adds music, and it makes the slideshow and it makes it amazing.
They were really good. I remember you
They're
sent
phenomenal.
one. Didn't you make one of like
I made one for my
Gibbs, Sam, and Austin?
Yeah.
Like
I did a few of them, and I kind of got away from it a little bit, but I still try to make slideshows, and that app is phenomenal for it. So like,
That's very cool.
So what you do is it's very simple. There's like a fee that you'd have to pay for it. I think it's like a yearly membership. So you can do these things yourself. It's really easy. But if you don't have the time for it, all you do is you add in like 40 pictures, and it automatically you pick what mood you want it to be, whether it be like a party or like something exciting or somber, and it puts the music in there, and it creates a slideshow for you, and it's awesome.
yeah, that's cool.
I'll check it
So
out.
that's a cool app to have. So like you said, like make sure you take pictures, and I try to be conscious of that and try to, because I mean, like you think about your parents, how many like boxes of pictures do you have? You know what I mean? Like your cell phone, you can scroll through, but you have hundreds and hundreds of pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you go through a box of pictures? Like once every 20 years?
Probably
or
about
something
as much as you scroll through your phone and like look at old pictures. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? But when you put them together like that,
But you can make a slideshow.
Yeah,
You can make a
yeah.
slideshow and
That's
be like,
cool.
oh, this is fun.
That's a good idea.
That's a good. I mean, that could be something.
Yeah, I love that.
I would say don't forget too that as many photos as you take with you and your wife or spouse or whoever it is, don't forget. Wait, I missed that one. Right, as many pictures as you take with your kids.
Yeah.
Don't forget to take pictures of you and your spouse too.
Yeah,
I find
we're
like,
bad about that.
Oftentimes the subject is your kids, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every so often, like make sure you're in there and stuff, because all of a sudden you realize it's been 10 years. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not in a single photo with my kids.
Right.
And the kids want to see that, right? They want to see
Yeah.
what happened when
Yeah.
dad or mom was, doing this, and this, or mom's
Yeah.
hair was crazy like this, and all of a sudden now it's like this, or dad.
Right.
whatever.
I know we're bad about taking pictures all together. Like
Yes.
unless we get them
Because
done
there's
like
always one
twice a
person
year.
taking the picture.
Yeah.
Or like even like me and both of my kids, like she'll take them, but like my they love the phone, or whatever.
Yeah.
And we FaceTime a lot because my parents live in Arizona, so they know how to work FaceTime and stuff like that. So they like taking selfies with me, like especially my daughter. She loves like before bed, we'll read some stories and stuff like that, and she'll be like, Daddy, let me see your phone. I'm like, no, you don't need the phone. She's like, I'll take a picture.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So we'll take a bunch of silly selfies and stuff like that. And she loves
That's
that.
fun
you know?
stuff.
Yeah.
But rarely do I get like pictures of me and both of them because
Yeah.
they're usually like, it's hard to get them together.
You know what I did this year, and I took a page out of my dad's book from when I was younger. It was my dad used to set up like on Christmas morning, he'd set up a camera in the corner of the room on a tripod. The old
Right. Yeah, I remember those.
camcorders,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
He would set that up in the corner of the room, and then he would just film like an hour video.
Yeah.
So I did that this Christmas. When the kids woke up, I put my phone, I set it up on the TV, by the TV, and I filmed our whole Christmas morning of the kids
Oh, that's
opening
cool.
of
That's
us
a great
opening
idea.
gifts.
It's a great idea.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of old. It was like
Because then you can still be active,
yeah,
and like hanging out with them and doing everything, and it's just.
So I'm not sitting there like this,
right? Right.
I put my phone down, and I was able to be.
Right, that's a good idea.
I was able to be in the video, and I was, it was cool. I mean, I watched it the other day actually, and I was like, it was a lot of fun.
It's actually a great idea. My wife, large Italian family, in Northeast Ohio, and so one of the cool things that she's had is that she's had grandparents who lived well into their 90s, almost 100, I think, and had tremendous traditions right throughout holidays and every single Sunday. So here as a sidebar, so every single Sunday night, my wife and my kids and I all go over to my mother-in-law's house with my wife's two siblings, her two brothers, and it's amazing that every single Sunday.
That's pretty cool.
These three kids, three children and their families all come to Sunday night dinner with Nona, and but if you go a level beyond that, right, to all of my wife's grandparents, same exact thing, and so they're married for 60 something years.
Yeah,
they've both passed since, but my wife and I met when we were very, very, very young, not arranged marriage or anything, but it was
how young.
We were 3 and 4. Actually. Whole different story. But
wait, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's a super cool story.
Yeah.
Different day. So, but the cool thing was like all their lives, like they had these phenomenal stories and these great traditions they stuck with every single time. So the deal was, to your point, Steve, is that if you came into the Borelli's household for Christmas, Grandpa Borelli would go stop, pose, take a picture, snap. Every single year, every single time he came through. So now that whole thing that he did for 40, 50, 60 years, now when they went and celebrated their 60-year anniversary and went to Maggiano's, the whole family, we went through a whole slideshow. It was pictures of families that went from they just met, they were dating, to they got married, to 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids, to
that's pretty awesome.
Zach and Rainey got married, and then we had 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kids, same thing, and you have the whole, and all of a sudden 2 grandparents that have I don't know, 60,
that's pretty amazing.
60 people that have it's unbelievable.
That's
That's
cool.
pretty awesome.
That's really cool.
But to your point though, with cell phones, as easy as it is to just film a Christmas morning, opening presents, that's so super easy. And
it's so easy. You have it on you at all times. Yeah. It's like we take short videos. We all don't have our camcorders. We don't pop the tape in the VCR and watch an hour video. It's like you're on your phone. You're like, here's a quick slideshow.
Well, I know when we go to my my wife's grandparents' house for Christmas and everything, and half of Christmas Day, we sit there and go through his old VCR videotape from when my wife and her siblings were kids.
Those are the best videos.
And
they really are.
90% of the video is complete garbage, and it's the best part. You know what I mean? They're doing nothing, but it's hilarious to watch them run around and play and be crazy. And
your kids are going to want the same thing.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. That's why you should keep that stuff. Man.
Yeah.
That stuff's big. I had a Clark Griswold moment. Speaking of old VHS tapes. I found a 1992, it was 1990 Christmas video. I was sitting in the basement. My mom gave me a box of the old tapes from her house, and I had a VCR in the basement. And I'm sitting down there in the basement by myself, and I'm watching old Christmas videos. And I started getting kind of emotional. I was like, wow, because I haven't seen them in so long. I'm seeing us as little kids, my brothers and I, my grandparents that have died, and it's pretty crazy to watch that stuff. It was pretty cool to watch it, but I was, it was pretty emotional too. I was like, man, I was feeling like Clark Griswold down there. When he's in the attic,
Not to lighten that up, but the Indians game video wasn't down there, was it?
It is. It literally is. I literally have that. I have that video in the basement.
So there's a video. Steve can probably tell it better than me.
We were 11th grade, right? 12. We were seniors? Juniors.
No.
We were probably juniors.
We were probably sophomores or juniors.
We had to be juniors because that early in the spring, we were not driving.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So anyway, we went to the Indians game.
Yeah, sure.
And there was a good group of us. We were there for one of our friends' birthday parties. We went to Dick's Last Resort.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the flats. And then so we went to the Indians game, and it was a rainy night. And
we're in the bleachers.
We were in the bleachers. There's no one in the crowd. And somebody's mom called one of called their son. They're like, hey, Paul. They're like, hey, we just saw you on TV in the bleachers.
And I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, hey, you know what we should do? Let's go up there and just like make a ruckus. Let's just go get crazy out there.
Was it a rain delay or?
There was a rain. No, it was raining. There was a rain delay at one point, but we were getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
So like, screw it. Let's go up there and go mess around. So we started like dancing around up there. We're doing like, we're just stomping on the bleachers. We're like walking back and forth like the bushwhackers. Is it the bushwhackers?
Yeah, it was bushwhackers. Yeah.
You know, we're dancing around. We have umbrellas and shit. We're just a bunch of idiots. Anyway, turns out we were on TV, and my buddy's mom recorded it. So it's and the commentators are like ripping on us. They're like, oh my god, they're still at it out there in left field.
Kids missed their bus.
Like these guys missed their bus, and then he's like, yeah, I think it left somewhere in the 5th inning. And then like, so they're we're dancing around like idiots, and all of a sudden Ian's over in the corner. There's a shot of Ian. And he's got his shirt off. He's swinging around his head. And then all of a sudden he's just like out of nowhere, he starts like rubbing himself, and the camera just slowly pans away from Ian. And I actually have that.
I need to watch that
tape in my basement. I might have to go find it tonight.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm gonna find it.
That's so hilarious that you actually have that.
I do. It says Paul's Friends. I got it from Mona.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I have it. It just says Paul's Friends on it.
It's handwritten, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the little label.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to think about. When we were seniors, we were still or that age, we still had the.
It's insane.
The old VHS tapes. But anyway, all right.
It's what it's all about, though.
Honestly, man, it's so great.
Good memories, right? I mean,
hell yeah. Always have it. As long as I have a VCR.
Yeah,
we'll figure that out.
To
transfer.
I might have one. I might have one at the daycares.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
All right. So Zach, one of the like Steve said, you definitely covered your dad hacks.
Definitely covered it.
You're welcome to shout out some more as we go if you have them. But one other spot that we really like to hit is proud dad moments. We think it's very important. So a proud dad moment, just to further clarify, can either be you're very proud of your kids for something, or you're very proud of yourself for something, like related to being a dad. We think it's very important for dads to kind of try and take a moment and reflect. I think it's not something that's natural, like as guys, that we do and say, hey, you know, I'm really proud of what just went on right there. And it might be something that happened last week, or it might be something that happened like 3 years ago. It doesn't really matter. But just take a second, reflect on something that you were proud of. Again, either your kids or yourself, because I think that's important to share.
I got one. I got two.
Good.
Give us three.
I go with the third one.
3's the required minimum. We're relatively intense on this.
Yes, we are. That's the episode.
Oh god, that's gonna be like my thing. So, so my son Eli, who's 11 now. We were walking into. This has been a recurring thing with him. So, and it's funny when your son, particularly your son, right, thinks you're still Superman, right? So
yeah.
I'm not the tallest guy, right? I'm maybe 5'8" 5'7" 3/4. My son not too long ago realized I was not 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
As we're walking through Home Depot, he's like, "It's okay, Dad. It's okay that you're not really tall." I was like, I will crush you. So, and I was like, we've pressed it a moment. I go, I will arm wrestle you until you're 20. So, what was I saying?
Home Depot.
So now we're at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
So, we pulled in Dick's Sporting Goods 2 years ago, roughly. So he's 9, and they're a couple of teenage kids. They're getting out of the car and they pull up and they're like having a good time and stuff. And I look up and one kid throws some French fries up in the air. And they land all over the parking lot, right? And I was like, that's not real cool, you know. But they're teenage kids. I'm not gonna say anything, right?
Right.
So we get a little further in, and I kind of hold my son back for a little second, let those kids go ahead of us, not one behind us, right? So they walk towards the front of the sporting goods store, and the kid takes his 48-ounce thing of Diet Cola, whatever, and just goes and throws it straight up in the air, and it splatters in front of the front door of the sporting goods store. And without saying a word, I hold Eli back and I go, "Hey, clean it up right now." And the kids, they're bigger than me.
Yeah.
And all three of the kids froze, and I stood and looked them straight in the eye and said, "Just clean it up." and the kid's scooping up, ice. And you can't scoop that up.
Right.
Yeah, he's like carrying it to the thing, and I didn't think anything of it. And we're going inside to look for soccer shin guards, whatever it was. And my son says to me, he's like, Dad, that was really like those kids were really afraid of you, and they respected you. And I said, well, you just gotta make sure you choose your battles, right? It was 2 years ago. A couple weeks ago, my son and I are going to watch the most recent Star Wars Return.
Rise of Skywalker.
Thank you very much. Really good, by the way.
I loved it.
I like that movie a lot.
Loved it. Awesome. Loved it. And he goes, Dad, remember that time we were at Dick's Sporting Goods? And I said, yeah. And he goes, it's like, what? Like, that's really cool that you were really calm about that. I really think, and I was like, this is a moment he'll remember his entire life. Yeah. Of like his father choosing a moment to like, I wasn't at risk of hopefully being shot or attacked or anything else. But the fact that I was showing my son like, hey, that you're doing the right thing and make sure your kids are respectful and that kind of stuff, and just a public.
You don't want to act like that. You don't want to act like those kids. Like he should not be acting like those kids. Yeah,
right.
Which rolled into, so Dad, like, in the first fight you ever had, what was your first fight? And we went to a whole series. So I'm gonna elaborate a little bit. So like we went to the whole series of like all the fights I've ever been in my life, right? We've all been in fights, right? And I realized throughout the whole point, like we had this opportunity to say, like it wasn't about me beating up kids or me being beat up, whatever it was. It was about yep, I got in a fight. Yep, I got in this fight. This would occur. This would occur. This would occur. And I stopped and I said, Eli, the reality is that every single fight I ever got in, it was for somebody else. It was for a moral
There was a
reason
principle.
or whatever I fought.
Yeah.
Precisely. And so I said, at no point in time did I ever want to fight some other kid because I wanted just to hurt somebody, right?
Yeah.
It was never about that kind of thing. And so I thought, like, for a proud dad moment, that me was like teaching my male son, this is as opposed to a female. But like,
hey,
my son,
2020.
Hey, anything's possible.
Sorry, no, I'm neutral. Of saying basically like, he's a kid who's hopefully, and he's we're still in the age where he still sees me as like this, this thing, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And he's thinking, okay, cool. My dad's cool with in the public, and even every fight he ever got in, he fought for justice. And,
Right. Superhero shit, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, that's really cool. I think that's a really good proud dad moment because you really hit both of them in one. You clearly it's something that you remember that it was a teachable moment for your son, and I think that whether you want to admit it or not, you're proud of yourself for choosing that battle and then being able to explain it.
Yeah.
So I think that's wonderful, and then of course proud of your son for asking the questions and taking it in and then remembering it years later. And like you said, that's a moment that he'll remember for a long time, and hopefully that kind of is the like the moral compass for him. You know what I mean? Or at least a part of it. You know what I mean? So that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
that's very good.
He's a funny kid. Awesome. Well, the cool thing was what ensued from after that too was he shared with me some things I didn't know. He's like, "Oh, well, I got in my fight," and I was like, "Wait, you didn't tell me about your fight you got in 3 months ago?"
Right.
And I was like asking questions about the fights and so forth. And they were little scuffles. They last, 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
10 seconds, 30 seconds kind of thing. And so, but same thing. It was always about, it was a principle of something. It was for a friend. It was protecting somebody, whatever it was for the right reasons. And so I was like, all right, cool. It's
good though.
He's full of testosterone.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Maybe he yelled penis at some point in time.
It happens, man. I mean, we still do it,
I want to put a dinger on every time. Ding.
Penis.
Yeah. I forget the second one. It was my daughter, my 13-year-old. What was it with her? I'll have to think for a second.
Take it, dude.
Come back, yeah. I lost it. The bourbon, the Four Roses.
I'm telling you, man.
Four Roses is so good.
It is good.
One of the distilleries that I got to visit when I was in Kentucky over the summer was Four Roses.
Really?
It's a really cool place. So we just did a tasting there, not a full distillery tour. But it was really cool. In their tasting room, they have like every bottle that's ever been released. So it's kind of cool to see from like years ago, like what they used to look like and then how they've changed and they've kind of come back to what they used to look like. It's really, really cool.
That's very cool.
They actually have, do you know the Four Roses is famous for the picture? Oh, let me see if I remember the story correctly. There's a picture of a sailor in Times Square, like dipping this girl. if I showed you the picture, you would recognize. It's a really famous photo.
You mean yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And in Times Square, the ad that was playing at the time was Four Roses. And like, you would never think of that, but they have like a really old like mural of it in their tasting room. It's pretty cool.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, Steve, if you can find it, I don't know.
I thought of the second one.
Do it. Go.
Remembered it, rather.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my middle daughter, Cecilia, or we call her Sia, is probably from a thought perspective, thinks very, very similarly to me.
Okay.
Or I think similar to her. That one, yes.
Yeah.
There's so randomly.
Can you see the?
It's hard to focus on it.
This is the sailor, leading.
Yeah. And so, also, cool story about that picture is they did not know each other.
That I have heard that.
Which is amazing.
So in Sarasota, Florida, there is a massive, I'm gonna guess, 25-foot tall
really?
sculpture of this
Oh, really?
scene.
Oh,
It's
cool.
amazing. Yeah.
Wait, where at?
Sarasota, Florida.
Okay, is it?
Yeah, I was born there. So yeah.
All right, do your.
My middle daughter,
Yes.
Cecilia, we call her Sia, or the CIA if she's being particularly difficult. We got into a conversation. I don't honestly recall what it was we were discussing. Who knows? It could have been. It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Right?
matter.
Gotcha.
She was young. She's 13 now. I would say she was 10.
Okay.
10, 11 years old. And we got into a conversation. And I thought, okay, cool. I'm the logic guy. I will work through rationale and logic and process steps until the day is gone. And I'm going to just wear her down until we get to, like, I'm going to get you to believe what I'm trying to put across here.
Right.
So it didn't work. Because there's a whole other factor of...
Because she's an 11-year-old girl.
There's the female factor.
Right.
It's a really powerful side. And so here she was, and I would tell you, whatever it was we're talking about, who knows. 45 minutes in the conversation, I stopped, and I was like, I got to admit, your level of perseverance for the level of logic, tying in emotion into this whole thing, which I can't, as a male, typically bring into it like you can. And I was like, you need to be a prosecutor. That's the bottom line. Obviously, a district attorney,
Yeah.
whatever, CT, whatever it is. And I go, I just have to sort of bow down to your level of persistence here at 10 or 11 years old. And I remember thinking to myself that as a father, as 40 years old at that point in time, saying, oh my gosh, okay, if I'm as smart as I think I am now, right, and you're 11 or however old,
Right.
at this age, oh my gosh, that once you get to my age, the level of intelligence is going to be through the roof, right?
Yeah.
And we're thinking, okay, well, can we just shake and agree to that we agree to disagree, or you're right and I'm wrong, or whatever it is.
Right.
You've got me.
That's cool.
And
That
I was
is-
like, this is super impressive. And I thought, oh my God. And you think about really powerful or what's the word? Impactful women in the world, and you see this big trend now of CEOs, female CEOs coming through today, and very large public companies.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I think this is what you need. You need a very strong,
Sure.
powerful woman at the helm here. And I'm thinking, this is my daughter at 10, 11 years old, thinking,
Yeah.
she's got logic, she's got femininity, she's got emotion, she's got control, she's
That's amazing.
got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a proud dad moment where I was
very
like,
proud
I'll
dad moment.
stand down.
That's
to your-
cool.
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And you're like, okay, that's awesome.
Just made me think about the moment I had like that with my son. And I've said this on the podcast before, but it was a situation where I was trying to get him to clean his room or his playroom.
Oh,
And shoot, I can't remember exactly how it went, but basically I was getting very frustrated. I'd asked several times very calmly.
The 4-year-old.
Yeah, and at the time he was just 3 probably. And so I'd asked 3 or 4 times, and finally I said, Gibson, I'm getting very frustrated. Because I try really hard, and especially since the daycare thing, I've gotten really good at trying to express more with words than with body language. And so and I have to consciously do that. I have to
Ian, use
say
your
what yeah, exactly. So I was doing that, and I was proud of myself for doing that. I'm like, Gibson, I'm getting very frustrated because I've asked you several times and you're not listening to me. You're ignoring me. and blah, blah, blah. And I'm this great spiel. And I was like, all right, he's going to get this now. And he stopped and he looked me dead in the eyes and he goes, maybe you shouldn't have had kids. I walked away.
That was one of my favorite things he's ever said.
I walked away.
Dying to
Spikes
know.
drop.
when-
I walked
where
away.
the hell he got that from?
I was like, you're fucking right.
You're like, yeah, that's right. Now get the fuck out of my house.
See, this is the retort.
What am I supposed to say to that?
Dude, I want to know where he got.
I
that
know.
From.
I still.
Like,
I asked him like the next day or maybe hours later, or whatever it was. I asked him like, "Where did you hear that?" And I never got an
He's
answer.
like, yeah, cool, whatever. It is.
And he's never said it since. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have had kids. I'm like,
Oh, well, maybe.
Touche.
okay.
Well, you're not wrong. So
Okay, well, I'm going to go brush.
I'm gonna go take a dump again for an hour.
Go to my
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to my
sit.
office,
Yeah.
which is the bathroom.
So
All right.
Yeah,
I
we'll
would say
see where that goes.
there was one topic I did want to cover. And
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
would say, I think I put it in my little very brief written bio, was balance versus imbalance.
you're right. You did.
So this goes a little bit ties back towards the relatively intense running days. So particularly for, I don't know your work-life balance scenarios very well from a life standpoint, but I spent a lot of years of my life, I don't fully regret, from a professional standpoint, from a family standpoint, it probably hurt. Working many hours. So 80 hours a week was not unusual at all. Tough on the family, tough on my wife, tough on all of us. And although the family will always sort of forgive you, right, for that.
Yeah.
I missed out on a lot of things. And one example always comes to my mind is that my daughter, Nina, she probably was 6-7 years old, and I'm working in the bowels of a distribution center at whatever time o'clock, and she had a ballet recital, and I would fly from downtown Cleveland to get to her ballet recital and sit there for an hour, and then the second the recital's done, okay, bye honey, bye Nina, and then back to work, right? And that went on for many years. And my wife was driving, growing the family and so forth. And while I was always gone, and the hard part was that was an absolute imbalance in my life. And those are times you don't get back. And it's taken, probably from a personal standpoint, it's taken me years to get to a point where I've traveled a ton for the last 20 years. I've worked a ton, and it's all for good reason. It's all for my family. But that imbalance, when it's happening, I guess my point is you can make choices too. Who was it that said, we were talking before the podcast? No, wait, this is a different conversation. Talking to a gentleman at work actually today about, look, if you don't love your job, you can change your job.
Right.
You can quit. You can get a different job.
Sure.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, look, you're not impressing your bosses. It's all about your family. And that's where that passion really comes from, is at the end of the day, you're really focused on your family and your close friends, and I don't regret those years. But I appreciate now that I have breakfast with my kids every single day. I take them to school. I get to say, hey, what's going on in school today?
Yeah.
Right.
How was your day?
Yeah.
And that's really, honestly, at the end of the day, what kind of, from a human perspective, that's at the most primal level, that's kind of what it's all about.
Listen, it's a very good point, because I think as dads, so one of the things that we try to, I don't want to call it preach, but we try and put out into the world is that as dads, we don't have to be the secondary parent. Gone are not completely gone, but for the most part, gone are the days where dad's at work and mom takes care of the kids, and you might say hi, and as you fall asleep on your recliner after a hard day's work, you know what I mean? That's just not how the world works anymore, and I think that's a good thing. I think the work-life balance part is different for everybody. And I think what's important is to understand what is important for you and your family. The thing that we can never replace is time, right? Yep. Like you can have all the money in the world, you can't buy time back. And I think if you understand that and you understand what your priorities are as a family and then on a personal level as a man, you know, if you value your kids and the time that you have with your kids and your spouse, you figure out ways to accomplish your goals in different ways, right? Like I saw on the podcast a while back now, we had James, you know, James Schleicher, right? Yep. And so he said something that really stuck with me, and it's so true. Your family doesn't miss you when they're sleeping.
No.
Yeah. So if it's really important for you to run ultra marathons or go to the gym or get a couple extra hours of work in so that you can get ahead of something, or you're working on a big project, or whatever it is that's important to you, if you can figure out a way to do it while they're sleeping. So it's either getting up early or staying up later, you know, and again, then you're going to sacrifice some sleep. So you have to balance all those things out. I guess the point is, and to your point, is figuring out, even if it's later than you want it to be, like you can learn from what you've done over a certain amount of years, and that's going to make you a better father, a better husband, a better individual, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a topic that we try and hit on.
Yeah, I think, and not to sound cliche, but it kind of goes towards your true north, right? So if you're, you know, look, you do anything for your kids and your family, right? And so to your point, during those years when I was running ultra marathons, I wouldn't sacrifice my family. I didn't have a lot of time with my family. I was working way too many hours. But I knew if I came home at 10, 11 o'clock at night and they were already sleeping, okay, I'm gonna go for a run now. Sure. And then I'm gonna get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I've just sacrificed my sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is fine for them. Look, from a long-term perspective, though, that's also where the gray hair starts.
Sure.
It's also where you start.
And you have to figure out on a personal level, is that sustainable? Because eventually something's going to crack, right? Like something is going to give.
Yeah.
And so you just have to figure out what is going to give. And for most of us, the last thing that's going to give is your family. But if you let it get to the point where everything else gives, eventually it's going to catch up to your family.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're lucky enough and you're self-aware enough, you catch it before it gets to that point, and you make some real decisions about your lifestyle and what's important to you.
100%. And this is the point too. And part of this is that, look, if you have a healthy relationship with your spouse, whatever your scenario is that, you know, whatever it is you think in your head, if you don't stop and think and go, am I out of balance here?
Sure.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. If you could recognize that. Yeah.
Am I an asshole?
Yeah.
You know?
I ask that question all the time.
Trust me, I do.
And also you're like, oh my God, I am an, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool. And as long as you're open about it, and you have a good supportive family, and you're open about the conversations, you know, your family will forgive you and say, because look, part of that imbalance is that, look, you're in the, if you guys ever followed or done the personality assessments called Strengths Finders.
Yeah.
They talk about your balcony and your basement, right?
Yep.
So when you're really killing it, like you're in your balcony. When you're not, like you're really in the bad place, you're in your basement. And same thing too, from the family perspective, like, look, when you're really in that crap zone of where you're at in life, and all of a sudden you're like, your wife's like, dude, you've been like a jerk for a while.
Yeah.
We're gonna tolerate it because we know you're a good guy, but you know, like, it's good to have you back to normal here.
For sure.
You're in a good place.
Sure.
And that affects your family and your kids, and they all see it. And from a father perspective, you're that. Way back to our conversation earlier where we said, you know, you're from a male perspective, particularly with daughters, you become the most
influential male.
You're the first male figure in your daughter's lives, right?
Exactly.
You're the first male figure in your son's lives. And so, like, they're going to start
and just
mirror that in their relationships in life and so forth.
Right. Something to think about, too, and I can't remember which guest brought this up. And again, we learn stuff from our guests all the time. is the other thing to think about, like, especially with your son, you know, who's 11, right?
Yep.
So we thought about this with our sons after this conversation is like, so what you said is true. Like particularly with daughters, you know, you have to set the example for how she should be treated.
Yep.
But think about this. With your son, you need to set the example of how he should treat
Absolutely.
Yep.
the women in
100%.
his life, whether it's his mom, his sisters,
Yep.
or somebody he dates in the future, or just a coworker, whatever. Like we're setting the example for our sons too. So I think that like sometimes we lose that. And I think it's important to remember that like we're not only setting the example for our daughters, but also our sons.
You're always watching.
Yeah.
Look, I'm in a fortunate scenario. Like I've got, you know, one son, and then I've got my 2 girls and my wife. So I've, you know, of the Johnson 5, we call it. There's 2 boys, right? And he's fortunate to get this great perspective of like, I've got, okay, if I can look if my son, honestly, so if my son can handle a 17-year-old sister and a 13-year-old sister,
Right.
and my wife and me, he is set
Sure.
for a very successful
Sure.
life with
Absolutely.
with women. And I didn't have that.
I didn't have that. Like it was,
don't know.
I mean, I had my mom, but like,
Yeah.
and I had my dad and my brother, you know what I mean? Like it was, I didn't really understand. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was never like, I didn't have a sister that I had to learn about, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't there.
Here's a great story. So last night I'm taking my kids to piano lessons, right? So all 3 of my kids are in music lessons, which is huge, by the way. So my son, I'm sure he'll listen to this podcast, so he'll probably kill me for this, but so he's a good kid. He's a good-looking kid. He's funny. You know, girls like him and so forth, and he likes that a lot. And he's focusing probably too much, he would say, on his relationships with his girlfriends, and he's 11.
Yeah.
Right, so he's learning, and my 2 girls, as we're driving down to our teacher, who's awesome, or the 2 girls are imparting some advice on him from a female perspective. Hey, we love you. You're in a safe place. We're your sisters. Hey, like when you tell a girl you love her, like it's a little too much. 11 years old, like back off a little bit. Like show some.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's really so here's me with 19 years of marriage. Here are my 2 girls with 13 and 17 years of being girls and having relationships, to saying to their brother with all
That's pretty
respect,
cool, though.
to say like, you know, he's upset. He's pulling his hood down. He's
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, dude,
Take the advice.
you have like experts at the realm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say, like,
If you had that advice, and
If I had that advice.
if you had that option, like
Yeah.
if I had that,
and all I'm saying is like, hey, back off. Ask girls questions.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
Make them feel special, right?
Right.
All those kinds of things, and be respectful and so forth, and he is and all that. So, and your initial response as a 11-year-old boy is to be like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
And that's
I don't
natural.
need to-
Yeah.
But the fact that like you've got an open family to think like, even my 7-year-old daughter said, listen to dad, like he's got marriage under his belt.
Yeah.
You know, he's made
Yeah.
mistakes, but that's
Yeah.
He's done something
this
right.
for a while. You know?
Right.
It's and for me as a dad, to part back to a third proud dad moment, even just last night, recently as that was, I think like here's 2 girls, you know, who are cool to say to their brother like, hey buddy, we're helping you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Looking out for him.
Yeah,
That's
great.
great.
And that was them doing that. It was me,
Sure.
maybe facilitating, but it was
That's
an
absolutely
proud
proud
moment.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. I mean, look, you always want to see your kids get along and communicate on. I don't want to call it an adult level, but I don't know what word I'm thinking of, but like communicate like humans
Yeah.
and not just bickering or not just
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
doing typical brother sister stuff. You know what I mean? Like to see them communicate has got to be really proud.
Oh, it's
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have to go to the restroom.
Well, here, you know what?
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. We got a ton of good information.
Thank you.
This was a lot of fun.
We could. You know what?
We could
have
go
you on
for
again.
hours and
could always-
hours and hours.
we could always have-
but
we could always have you come
yeah,
back, too.
yeah, we can have you come back.
We were all about that.
Let's do a cheers. real quick.
Oh.
All right.
Cheers. That down, Steve.
Hey.
Yeah,
I'll get you
there you go.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Zach, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. We will absolutely do it again because there's more stuff that I want to talk to you, especially with the father-daughter stuff and everything else. But we got a lot of good dad hacks. We got a lot of good proud dad moments. So yeah, this was wonderful.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Helpful for me too.
Good, good. I appreciate that. That's great.
You guys are awesome. This is great. Honestly,
Awesome.
Really great.
Glad you had a good time.
Thank
man.
you so much.
And thank you for bringing the bottle.
Yeah, love Four Roses. So if you haven't already, please make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, and then of course your podcast of choice: Apple. We're on Google, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, all the good stuff. And then please do us a favor and give us a rating and some reviews. We love feedback. In the meantime, this has been episode 34.
Yes, sir.
With Zach Johnson. So I appreciate you. And as always, raise good humans.
Yes, sir. Catch you next time.
Hey guys, if you love what you just heard or watched, and we know you did, do us a solid and hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends and throw us a comment, literally about anything. Your support legit keeps us going. Oh, and don't forget to give us that 5-star rating. We really appreciate you.